Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick update on the 1 Series track build. I'm working by myself tonight, no fiance, no helpers, just getting things done. A lot of little odds and ends that I gotta tie up, few things that we didn't expect, few issues that we ran into, just buttoning everything up. We're almost finished with this whole build for the most part. We even got a new exhaust in with quad tips and all that, so we're probably gonna have a few other videos going up on that. We're still filming DIYs on the whole intercooler piping, as well as the oil catch can, the downpipe, all that stuff. We're getting DIYs done for all of those as well. So I just want to give a quick show around of what's going on and what we've done so far. So we've got a lot of stuff taken apart in the engine bay as well. We need to still actually remove the whole front end so we can install this bigger intercooler that we have. So we got this VRSF 7.5-inch intercooler, and that requires some modifications of the front radiator support. So we're going to cut some things there, get that installed. We've got all of the 1M coilovers installed in the front. I did have to custom make some shims. That way we can use the 135i spindles with the 1M coilovers. The top hats, so the top strut mounts actually, we actually just went in with stock 1M strut mounts. We've got the coilovers installed in the rear as well. Once again, these are the KW V3s. Don't worry about the brakes. We're gonna get all that stuff taken care of. In the trunk, we might end up having to remove this whole tray that's in the trunk pan or the floor, just because we're going to relocate the battery. That way we can fit a quad tip exhaust that's stock on the 1M. So the 1M comes with a stock quad tip exhaust. The one that we're going to be installing is an aftermarket one, but it also does have the quad tips. So it's like an aftermarket for the 1M, but we're going to make it work. Here's the other side of the rear end. So once again, we did all those solid bushings on here. Got all the coilovers, all new arms, and pretty much just, change as much stuff as we could while everything was out. So here's that big 7.5-inch intercooler that does require modifications. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this whole front end, which pretty much is just that bumper, and then we'll cut out whatever we need to. That way we can get that to fit. I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I just went ahead and cut everything out. I didn't have enough time to fill it up. I didn't have enough time to film it, but I cut everything out, smoothed it out just a little bit, test fitted a few times, so you can see, I took off all this extra stuff as well. But it fits now. We still do need to zip tie the ambient temperature sensor somewhere, but for now we're just gonna put the intercooler up, make sure all the piping works, and then we'll put the bumper and do all that stuff.
What these boys put in the ship.
That was heavy.
Right.
How?
Look at that hole. Go up.
That's hitting me.
Go up more. Go back. Scoot it back towards the engines. Scoot it towards the engine. No. Okay, come on. Bring that in. Put that piece of wood. Size that. This side's almost perfect. Alright, so it's finally about time to start putting everything back together. We've got the bumper still off. We went ahead and installed that 7.5-inch intercooler, and we actually had to cut the radiator support and all of that, which kind of sucks because if you watch one of the previous videos when we first rebuilt this 135 when it was wrecked and we got it from the auction. We bought a brand new radiator support directly from BMW, but we did have to cut it for that 7.5-inch intercooler, which is a good future-proof upgrade. So not too worried about it, but you know, it still sucks having to cut something that was perfectly new and everything was fitted just right. But now it's about time that we're gonna start putting everything back together. We did film quite a few DIYs. They'll all be linked down below. We have one more to do with the oil catch can, but we can do that with everything else put back together anyways. So I'm gonna put the wheels on, put the front bumper on, and just button everything else up underneath. Let's just get to it. Alright, so I'm pretty much finished up with the car as far as everything that needs to be done to button it up before we can tune it and take it for a test drive. So I've bled all the brakes, got the bumper secured, made sure all the plastics are on, even underneath the car, checked all the plastics, tightened all the bolts, torqued everything down, just made sure everything is as good as I can get it before we can tune it, take it for a test drive, and then go get it in alignment. It will definitely need an alignment since we did mess with all of the rear suspension. It's got all new arms and all of that. And we're probably still going to have to adjust the height a few times. Right now, what I ended up doing was I set the front height to the max. And in the back, I have it at the lowest it can go with the rubber pad in. So it should still be a pretty good, decent amount of space. Hopefully, it'll be even with the front and the back. But we'll find out once we have the wheels on and once we bring it down to the ground. But let me just show you guys around. So you can see right here, we're pretty much at max height in the front. We do have to put all of the strut bars in still, but I've got the brakes already bled and all the plastics need to go there, including the cabin filter assembly. All that stuff will happen once we've actually test driven the car after the tune. And the spacers are on there temporarily. I'm not sure if it's gonna rub, but we'll probably pull them off and test fit the wheels first and see if it rubs against the coilover. So right now we're just going to keep these rotors on until we've test driven the car. Once we see how everything feels, if we need to change them, if we want to go with bigger brakes or whatnot, we'll decide there. And if we need to change them, we'll just put new rotors on and go from there. Even inside, we've got the short shifter on. Everything's secure. That knob is not the one that's going to stay on here. So once the center console and all that stuff goes back together, then we can change the knob to the carbon fiber one that the customer bought in. Alright, so it's the following day. We're back on the 1 Series. I actually spoke with my customer this morning and we both agreed that we should just go in and replace the rotors because, they are still rubbing against the brake pads. There's a pretty good groove on them. They're also old and a little bit rusty, so chances are they're probably also warped. So we went in and got new rotors. I went in and took the wheels off in the back. We're going to change those 2 rotors out and then we're just going to put the tune on. We'll take it for a test drive and also reassemble the interior with the center console and do all of that as well. So I'm excited to put these rotors on and see how everything feels afterwards, and also for the tune. I mean, the tune's gonna just add at least about 130 horsepower, and I mean, we've already done all the supporting modifications for it, such as that front mount intercooler, the big one, VRSF, 7.5-inch stepped one. We also have downpipe, and we also have the charge pipes, which you can still do a tune with factory charge pipes. They'll probably just blow off sooner or later, or they'll crack. So that's why it's recommended to do the upgrades. I'm excited to see how the MHD tunes are off the shelf, and we'll see how they feel. So let's just get on it. Let's get these rotors on and take it for a test drive. All right, so both of the rotors are on. Make sure all the brakes and everything is good. Checked all of the differential bolts and all that one more time, just to double check. Everything is nice and tight. Everything is torqued down. I went ahead and started the whole MHD process. So all that requires is a phone or an Android tablet that can support OTG, which is like on the go. That way you can actually hook up peripheral devices straight directly to that phone or tablet. So I'm just using my Google Pixel. That's why you don't get an iPhone, because iPhones suck. But anyways, we went ahead and got the whole MHD app, bought the whole flasher unit, all the stage 2 maps. That's what we're gonna go with, is the stage 2, since it's got the downpipes and the big front mount intercooler. So we got all that. I already started the process. All that should be good to go. It's very simple as far as the whole MHD thing goes. Only thing that you have to make sure is the OTG cable that you're using, as well as the K plus D CAN cable that you're using to do all of the coding and all the tuning is of good quality. So the customer actually bought a Bimmer Geeks cable that has like that's pretty much recommended by MHD. So I'll have that link down below. That cable worked fine, and we just used the OTG cable from Amazon, and it synced up with my Pixel just fine. So as soon as the tune is done, we'll go take it for a spin and see how everything feels. I'm just buttoning everything up, got all the covers on, the cabin filter assembly on. I even changed out the steering wheel. So you can see right here, I changed out the steering wheel. So that steering wheel is like one of those thicker custom wheels off of eBay. But yeah, so he had bought that a while back. He wanted me to install that, so I went ahead and did that. We still need to put the center console in, so we'll go ahead and do that next. And then we can film a couple of drive-bys and just see how it drives. So we finally got the tune on, and we're taking it for the first test drive. Let's see how everything feels. I've already got the car warmed up, oil is up to temperature, and we're good to go. Hold on tight. It is quick. My God. Wow. It sounds amazing too. We have all the stock exhaust on except for just the downpipe. Everything else is completely stock. Oof, I thought that was a cop. Oh, it pulls. It feels amazing. Alignment is way off, but we knew that already. So it's gonna need an alignment. The brakes feel great. Everything just, wow. Oh my God. It's gonna put a smile on his face every time he drives it. And just like so effortless, like it revs really good. It doesn't really like struggle anywhere. And even the suspension and everything doesn't feel too rough. You wanna get some outside car footage? Alright, so the test drive went well. I did drive it around. You guys only saw a few clips, but we took it around some bumpy roads, make sure all the suspension is doing well. It does need alignment. The customer is actually going to pick the car up tonight. He's going to drive it around for a few days, get the alignment and all of that, and then it's going to come back to us. We're going to do the whole quad tip exhaust and figure all that stuff out, and we'll just check up on everything, see how everything else is doing, and just go over all the work that we've already done. But for the most part, only thing I'm going to do now is just put the center console in. That way he has cup holders while he's driving it for the next few days. But it's an amazing car. Maybe we'll have one of these one day. Obviously everybody wants the 1M, but it's so hard to find. I think we're going to be very close to 1M power, if not more, by the time everything is said and done with this car. Anyways, make sure you go watch all the other videos on this specific build, and we will still have a few more DIYs and all of that as well. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.